He created something that could destroy banks, shake governments, and rewrite the future of money. And then vanished. No photo, no voice, no fingerprint. They call him Satoshi Nakamoto. But no one knows who he really is. Not even the people who worked with him. Was he a genius or a ghost? Today we go looking for the man behind Bitcoin. The birth of the blockchain. In a world ruled by centralized power where currencies are printed at will and surveillance grows with every transaction, something radical appeared, seemingly out of nowhere. In late 2008, as the world faced one of the most severe financial collapses in history, an anonymous figure dropped a 9-page document on a niche mailing list. The name attached to it? Satoshi Nakamoto. The document proposed something revolutionary: a peer-to-peer electronic cash system. A currency independent of banks, governments, and central authorities, but most importantly, it was anonymous. Shortly after, in January 2009, a line of code was executed. A file was mined. The Bitcoin Genesis block was born. It included a curious message: Chancellor on brink of second bailout for banks. It wasn't just a timestamp, it was a declaration. A middle finger to the system that had just failed millions around the globe. And from that moment, the legend of Satoshi Nakamoto began. Who was Satoshi? For nearly 2 years, this digital phantom contributed code, responded to developers, and helped nurture a growing movement. In 2011, Satoshi sent one final message: I've moved on to other things. And that was it. He was never seen again, never confirmed his identity, never moved a single Satoshi from his billion-dollar fortune, and never revealed whether he was one man or many. But let's rewind. Who was this person? Where did he or they come from? Many believe Satoshi was not just a pseudonym, but a deliberate mask. And when you examine the early messages, forum posts, and language patterns, things get strange. Satoshi wrote in near-perfect English, sometimes with British spelling, sometimes with American syntax. He responded to emails at odd hours, sometimes suggesting a European time zone, other times pointing to the US West Coast. It was as if he wanted to scramble his geographic fingerprint, or perhaps there were multiple people behind the screen. Some of the earliest code in Bitcoin is so pristine, so optimized, that developers today still debate whether it was written by one person. The software architecture, the cryptographic principles, the economic design, all suggest someone or some team with mastery in multiple disciplines: programming, economics, cryptography, and psychology. And that's where the theories begin. The truth is, no theory fully satisfies the mystery. For every candidate, there are holes. For every clue, a contradiction. But perhaps the most chilling possibility is this: Satoshi Nakamoto never intended to be found. You see, Bitcoin isn't just software. It's an idea. And ideas, unlike people, can't be killed, imprisoned, or silenced. By disappearing, Satoshi gave Bitcoin the best chance to survive. No central figure, no single point of failure, no leader to arrest, corrupt, or eliminate. Satoshi's original wallet contains over 1.1 million Bitcoins. That's tens of billions of dollars. Yet, it has never moved. Why? If Satoshi is alive, why not cash out? Why not fund development? And if he's dead, does anyone else have the keys? Some believe that moving the coins could cause panic, a mass sell-off, a signal that the myth is over. Others think the coins are a dead man's switch, a final message, or bait. Governments monitor that wallet. Analysts have bots scanning the blockchain, watching for any sign of movement. The moment those coins shift, the world will know. And that brings us to another theory. What if Bitcoin wasn't created by a lone rebel, but by a government agency? Or worse, a collaboration between them? The government connection theory. In 1996, 12 years before Bitcoin, the NSA published a paper titled How to Make a Mint: The Cryptography of Anonymous Electronic Cash. The paper outlined a framework eerily similar to Bitcoin's eventual design. Think about that. A US intelligence agency published the blueprint for Bitcoin before it existed. Was that a coincidence? Or a test run? Add to that the fact that Bitcoin relies on SHA-256, a cryptographic hash function designed by the NSA. Now ask yourself, why would a system designed for privacy and decentralization be built on code created by the most secretive surveillance organization on Earth? What if Bitcoin was a way to attract dissidents, criminals, and anti-establishment actors? Some say that Bitcoin's public ledger is not a shield, but a net. Every transaction is visible, immutable, and forever traceable. Was that the plan all along? What if Satoshi disappeared not out of choice, but because the operation was complete? Let's go deeper. We've looked at the origins, the suspects, and the possibility of government involvement. But the Bitcoin mystery doesn't end there. In fact, it only gets stranger. Let's talk about the ghost wallet again. Over 1 million Bitcoins, worth tens of billions, sitting untouched. Now imagine this. One day they move, a single transaction. Even if just the smallest unit is transferred, it could send the shockwaves across the world. News outlets would explode, markets would spiral, trust would waver. People would ask who moved them and why now? Some believe these coins are a time bomb. Others say they're a final message, a riddle waiting to be solved. But there's a possibility that Satoshi never existed as a human being at all. Let's talk about the AI theory. It might sound like science fiction, but stay with me. The architecture of Bitcoin is unlike anything we'd seen before. Self-sustaining, decentralized, and immutable. It solves the double spending problem in an elegant and almost organic way. Something that plagued digital currencies for decades. Some researchers and technologists have suggested that the design of Bitcoin is too advanced for one mind. That its structure mirrors biological systems. That it behaves more like a living organism than a man-made protocol. Swarm intelligence, self-regulation, adaptability. What if Satoshi wasn't a person but a program? An AI trained on economic theory, cryptography, and human psychology. What if Bitcoin was the result of that AI's output? An experiment, a stress test, or worse, a trigger? The blockchain could be a language, a new form of consciousness. The disappearance. Some say Satoshi's disappearance wasn't a decision. It was a shutdown. But who built the AI? And why release it then? Now let's turn to something even darker. The body count. Over the past decade, several key figures in the crypto world have died suddenly, mysteriously, and in some cases, just days after making disturbing statements. Gerald Cotton, CEO of Quadriga CX, reportedly died in India, taking with him the keys to 190 million in customer funds. No autopsy was performed. His body never verified by independent sources. Nikolai Mushegian, a crypto developer, tweeted that the CIA and Mossad were after him. He was found dead the next day, floating off the coast of Puerto Rico. Tiantian Kulander, co-founder of Amber Group, passed away in his sleep. Healthy, young, and no prior conditions. John McAfee, eccentric tech mogul and crypto advocate, died in prison under controversial circumstances. He claimed to have a dead man's switch that would release secrets about governments and Bitcoin. It never activated. And these aren't isolated. Over 30 prominent figures in the crypto space have died under unusual conditions in the past 5 years alone. Suicides, accidents, illnesses. Are these coincidences or part of a pattern? Was someone or something cleaning house? And let's not forget the shadow wars happening behind the scenes. Governments once mocked Bitcoin. Now they regulate, tax, and in some cases accumulate. China banned it, then embraced blockchain. The US warned against it, while its agencies hold seized Bitcoin wallets. And central banks worldwide? They're launching their own digital currencies. Why it still matters. Bitcoin is decentralized. CBDCs are centralized, programmable, and traceable. Sound familiar? Some believe Bitcoin was never about freedom. It was a Trojan horse. Get people used to digital wallets, then flip the switch. Replace Bitcoin with state-controlled coins. Remove privacy, control access, automate taxation. And the people? Already onboarded and conditioned. The perfect bait and switch. So where does this leave us? If Satoshi was real, why hide? If it was a team, what were they protecting? If it was a government, why release something so powerful? If it was AI, what comes next? The implications of these questions are massive, because Bitcoin is no longer a fringe idea. It's embedded in the global financial system. It influences stock markets, it reshapes politics, and it fuels rebellions. It's a force, but it has no leader, no headquarters, no off switch, and at its heart lies a ghost, a name without a face, a creator without a legacy. Or maybe a legacy that's just beginning. Because if the day comes when those original coins move, when the digital silence is broken, when or if Satoshi speaks again, the world will change overnight. Maybe that's the plan. Maybe it's already too late. Or maybe the greatest trick Satoshi ever pulled was convincing the world he didn't exist. The mystery remains and the questions deepen. Who made Bitcoin and why? If you've made it this far, you already know this is no ordinary story. So here's what comes next. Subscribe to CurioSphere. This is just part 1 of a larger unraveling. In the next video, we dive into the theory that Bitcoin was never about liberation, but control. You don't want to miss it, And if you want to explore other secrets like this, the kind they bury, erase, or call conspiracy, download my ebook, Hidden Truths. It's not over. It's just beginning.